Ghouls Film Review. I am your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So, Mike, what are we doing here tonight?
Well, as a change of pace, we've said previously that we mainly do horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, and we do the other interesting movie or classic movie or whatever. This sort of falls into that genre.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a movie called Son of Dracula, made in 1974. No, it's not the one with, was that the Hammer one? Son of Dracula? No, it's not the Hammer production with Lon Chaney Jr. in it. No.
There's two of them.
No, this is a musical comedy fantasy. Okay, musical comedy, horror fantasy. All those thrown in together. Okay,
Yes.
Now, what it is a movie made by Apple Films back in the early days. Ringo stars in it. He plays, well,
Merlin.
Monroe. Merle of Monroe. No, and Harry Nilsson is in it as the lead role of Count Down. Now, I try to get a bit of information. Now, I believe, Nilsson knew Ringo and stuff. I got a funny feeling that they used Nilsson in this to help promote his career. I mean, Nilsson taken off already, but they used a lot of his early songs in it as well. So maybe to help bolster his career, because Ringo was very, and I think John Lennon were very impressed with what Nilsson was doing. So, now, rolling on to who's in it. I won't go through the ordinary bit actor stuff, but when Harry Nilsson is performing in a band in this movie, he uses a couple of well-known musicians. So any of you audiophiles who like the older type music, you should remember some of these names from the dim, dark past. Now, we have a guy called Peter Frampton. I might talk about these guys a bit later on, but I'll just give them their names now. Peter Frampton, he's been around a bit. John Bonham, we all know who he is. Keith Moon, we definitely know who Keith is. Klaus Voormann, I'll talk about him a bit later on at the end maybe. And Leon Russell, who is a very, 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 very well-known person who actually used to be in the Wrecking Crew at one stage before he started his skyrocketing career. And so, that's a long intro, but I thought I'd just encapsulate it for everybody there before we roll into the synopsis. Do you want to do the synopsis? Or roll into the plot?
Before I begin, originally, let me see, David Bowie was originally going to be considered for this role of Countdown.
Instead of Harry. But
sadly, he had to do a recording for RCA Records at the time. So
he was busy.
So he was busy at the time.
Was anybody else lined up for it, or?
No, I don't know.
Just him, was it?
It was just him.
Look, Bowie's good. I like Bowie.
I like him too.
But you get Bowie. I mean, he got into Labyrinth and other things and whatever. Yeah, give somebody else a chance.
Well, then again, Labyrinth came much later and a little bit more developed when you look at that movie. And making comparisons.
That's another point. I think Bowie would have been doing his live concerts. Spiders from Ziggy Stardust of Spiders from Mars, probably back in that period. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go checking the dates. But
So who else other than Harry and Ringo? Who else stars in this major film?
I didn't worry about them. They're the two main stars.
There's got to be other people in this movie.
Yeah, but they're the two main ones that revolve around.
Yes, but they do play there's other people play a major role in this movie, Mike, is what I'm saying.
Well,
so you might as well mention them.
I didn't write them down because I didn't care about them.
Oh, brother.
Oh, you got Freddie Jones or somebody's in it, and some of the other people, and
Freddie Jones plays the Baron Frankenstein before he.
And who was the girl?
Suzanne Lane.
So everyone knows her, don't they? Gee.
Yeah, as Amber, a bit of a love interest for Countdown.
Countdown. Every vampire needs a love in his life.
Dennis Price as Van Helsing.
Yes. Okay. But I didn't worry about them because it's not one of those sort of movies you really worry about the actors. Anyway, by the way, directed by a guy called Freddie Francis, produced by, drum roll please, Ringo Starr, surprising, and he's got one of the lead roles. Jerry Cross and Tim Van Relum, whatever. And written by Jennifer Jane, I don't know who she is, but obviously he wrote a halfway decent script. Now, this is not a great commercial success type movie.
Yeah, according to Ringo, he was not too impressed with this movie.
No.
And therefore
And
didn't...
nobody else was either.
And therefore, he didn't put together a release to release this on the video or DVD.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with the end result. I mean, they wanted to do a few things. They got to stage where it just wasn't that good enough.
But it has not stopped us to go and proceed and order our own DVD.
Oh no, we got it. We got it in our collection. Yeah, and look, it's a good movie for what it is. It's a fun movie. It's hang on. I'll say it'd become into a cult sort of status. It's not a mainstreamy sort of movie.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because of who's in it. You got Ringo Starr and Harry Nilsson and the other guys. Acting to me is pretty second-rate acting because these guys aren't really actors. Okay. Some of the guys are.
Yeah, most of them were.
Ringo's on actor.
They
Harry's on
dressed
actor.
up for the stuff. They wore the stuff you've seen from the movies, and just
it
played
looks
along
good
with it.
and it's got good music. Only problem is you can't get a really, really, really good pristine copy of it nowadays. You can get a DVD. I think that's for Amazon. It was okay, but it's a copy of an old video cassette, and the quality is watchable. It's not as great as I would like, but hey, better have a crappy one than none at all.
Exactly, Mike.
Okay.
So let's dive into the actual plot to this film.
Yes, let's shall.
So it starts off where it takes place in Transylvania.
Hey, it's a good place, eh?
And, of course, you guys are aware that Transylvania is not in Romania, is it?
Well, I think there is a place called Transylvania, but I think that's actually the Transylvanian Alps, which I think is in Hungary. I think.
Yes.
I'm not very good at geography.
So anyway, somehow Dracula gets assassinated by an unknown person. I won't name yet, but we know
We've got a rough idea.
We have a rough idea who may have done the deed.
Another immortal who shows up in the movie later on.
Yes. Anyway, Merlin comes into the picture thanks to Dracula's assistant, and finds out that Dracula has been assassinated. However, Dracula's countess, I don't know her name. She remains
Mrs.
unknown.
Dracula.
She remains unknown.
Whatever.
And
Vampire. No. Okay. Sorry.
Anyway, so we find out that she is unknownly is going to have a child.
She got a bun in the oven, guys. A little bun.
Yeah, it's been kept secret from probably members of their world.
Yeah, because it's very strange. Never happened before. Hasn't happened since.
Yes, and Merlin predicts that the Countess is going to have a boy, and he will inherit his dad's throne.
Yes. His toilet. Oh, you mean the throne of being in charge of the underworld? Okay, I'm with you. I thought you meant his toilet.
So a few years later, and this goes way to the future, like 1970s.
Sort of present then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he arrives soon enough in London to get himself organised for his coronation. Right?
Yeah. Long live. Well, long live the king if he's dead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway.
Long reign the king. Yeah.
Of course, he had a snack on the road and all that.
Yeah. He dropped in for a bite.
So anyway, he comes in and Merlin welcomes him with open arms and all that stuff. And, of course, Countdown, that's his name, Countdown.
Hey, what a great name, Countdown.
Is having second thoughts about becoming king and ruling over the netherworld, all that stuff.
It's a big responsibility, you know.
It is a big responsibility. Anyway, throughout this movie, we get to hear a lot of some interesting songs.
Oh, yeah.
Some really good ones.
Yeah. I won't go into the song list, but if you go online, you'll probably find out.
Yeah.
Off his first albums, Nilsson and Son of Smilson.
Yeah,
Nilsson Smilson and Son of Smilson, I think they're on those albums.
His album is definitely called Son of Dracula, so in case you want to narrow it down.
Well, I've already told.
I know, but I'm just telling them.
Son of Dracula, 1974.
I just meant that's the name of the record, or album, or whatever.
Oh, it's a music album, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
that explains why they did a product placement in this movie.
Did they? I didn't notice that.
Remember when he was walking the streets, we come across a record store, and we see in the window Countdown's record of his music.
Well, I missed that. I know he was looking in the window, going, da 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 da. What will I steal tonight? No.
Yes. So anyway, of course, Dracula is having second thoughts, and Lord Baron Frankenstein, whom we reveal or hint that he was the one responsible for killing
his dad,
Countdown's father, Dracula.
Drac baby. Yes. And he also wants son out of the way so he can be the king of the underworld.
Yeah, and he offers to give Countdown the opportunity to be human, but he also wants to get him completely out of the way by killing him too.
Yeah, so he pretends to be nice, but he's not.
Yeah, but you got to admit though, if he helped him get turned back into a human, it will give him he won't be in the way anymore to be.
But he might still have power over the other guys.
True.
Even though he's become human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a daywalker.
So it takes him Countdown a little bit of time to work this out, and soon enough he meets Amber, a beautiful blonde girl who's really taken by him, and vice versa.
He got a nice charisma about him.
Yes, and he gets a deja vu about her because he had a dream the night before of her, and
funny thing that, eh?
Yeah, and in his dream he came close to biting her.
I would have.
But it didn't happen, of course.
I would have.
Yes, so anyway, he invites her over for a bit of dinner and stuff. And
he didn't bite her.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, before he gets down to business, he goes off to do a concert that was sort of a masquerade concert of sorts, right?
Yeah,
right?
somewhat, yeah.
Yes.
And he was a guest artist there. And this is where these other... this great band I mentioned before, Peter Frampton and the other guys, they were his band.
Yeah, I like that. I love the songs they played there.
Yeah.
Especially the "Give Me" that Sunlight song. I don't know what it's called, but
which one?
Oh, you know the one where he's "Here Comes the Daylight" something.
Oh yeah, you got the Daylight song. And he had, what's the other one? Jump in the Fire. Jump in the Fire was in there. That was a good song too.
Anyway, I won't sing it because Forever was much later on.
That was a nice tune. That's a love scene sort of thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so when he returns to Amber, that she looks like she's getting round to jumping in the sack with him.
Well, it was the 70s.
Yeah, and he asks her flat out, have we met before, and have you been, like, I had a dream about you and all that stuff, and she says, how could I know you, because this is the first time we met and all that. And before we can get around to it, Dracula begins to have deja vu. She was doing the similar thing in her dream. Ooh. And he quickly changed into a bat before anything could happen.
He didn't want to bite her.
Yeah.
The thing is, Dracula, Countdown, is because he had a normal human type birth, he has got some human tendencies.
Yes.
And that's starting to emerge, whereas an ordinary vampire wouldn't have these things.
Yes, so anyway...
He has a touch of humanity and emotions and stuff.
Yeah, soon enough, he meets Van Helsing, and unlike other Van Helsings we know in the movies and TV shows, he's on Countdown's side.
Yeah.
In this
Isn't that lovely?
And he offers him the chance of giving him... make him human again by using the aid of Amber.
Yeah, there was a blood transfusion. He needs to get some human blood into him. Yeah.
Yeah, and thinks that the only way to make him fully human is by allowing him to feel human love.
And well,
nothing gross or anything like that. It's just that he thinks that
well, he's gonna feel Amber later on, isn't he? You know.
True. But
Sorry.
He was.
Sorry, guys.
But he was thinking of a better alternative than Baron Frankenstein's alternative way of doing it.
Yeah, He was going to pretend to give him eternal, make him mortal, but also make him immortal at the same time. How can you have both?
Good point.
But the Baron Frankenstein in this movie is supposed to be an immortal. Like,
Yes.
Baron Frankenstein was not immortal.
Yeah, so...
See, they made a mistake,
yes.
hey?
The interesting thing about this scene is this Van Helsing, he's not just Van Helsing. He turns out to be Merlin in disguise.
Yeah. That's a nice piece of magic there, wasn't it?
Under the alias Van Helsing, obviously.
Yeah.
And he thinks this is a good way for him to go undercover and find out Lord Baron's Frankenstein's intentions for the throne.
Are your intentions honourable?
Not really, as we discovered.
Shouldn't think so. He wanted the crown for himself.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to look after him. I'll make him all better.
Yes, quite right. So Baron Frankenstein tries to steal the special machine that could help Countdown become human again. But luckily for Van Helsing / Merlin, we're able to uphand him, right?
Yep.
Yes, and we're able to steal back the machine.
Yep. All those good things.
Oh, yes, it is. It's kind of great that they had such good teamwork and a lot of action bits in that scene.
Yeah, a bit of a chase scenes and stuff and different things.
Yeah.
And look, it's good fun, isn't it?
Yes. Soon enough, they're about to do the transfusion / immortalizing Count down, but along the way, Baron Frankenstein tries to sabotage it by letting loose some creatures from the wax museum, which are not really
not wax, the real ones.
Yes, try to attack Amber and try to prevent her from helping.
Yes, she had to be there at a particular time for the transfusion. If they missed out on the transfusion at the right time, they wouldn't be able to do the process.
Yeah, Merlin is counting down the right moments to
5, 4, 3. 2.
Yeah, he's using numbers and
astral charts.
To make sure everything goes according to plan and everything.
He did very good. I didn't know Ringo was so clever.
So anyway, but soon enough, Countdown's servant, what's his name? Brian assists Amber and get her away from the horrible creatures.
Hey, Brian's a good guy, yeah.
Yes. He was a little upset when he found out his boss was not going to become the next ruler. But he says that his work... Merlin says, your work will not be in vain. You will be definitely there for your boss when he needs you.
Well, he'll need to. He's going to need someone to drive him around, even if he's not in a coffin, He's going to need someone to... do things for. He needs
and Brian has been a good friend to Countdown for quite a while.
Well, yeah, Brian is immortal, so he will age anyway, so he can grow old gracefully in the servitude under Countdown.
Yes. So anyway,
happy.
So soon enough, they get down to the experiment, and soon enough. The transfusions were complete. Amber is right there with Countdown, and everything goes clockwork.
Click, clock, click, clock, click. Cuckoo.
Yes, and soon enough, Countdown is become a normal, regular human with blood in his system, literally.
Does that make me normal?
No.
Okay, right. Just checking.
Yeah, soon enough, everything's good, but he has to go... Well, actually, he doesn't have to because he wants to go up to his people and tell them the absolute truth, what just happened.
Yeah.
And tell them that he cannot become the next ruler of
They were very upset.
Yeah, they were about to attack him and probably rip him apart.
Well, he's not one of us anymore. He's leaving us, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Fair game, let's eat him. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and soon enough... Brian pulls the sheet back and it reveals this golden cross on the ceiling.
And the sun was pouring through it.
The sun pouring through and burning all
these ghoulish people and stuff. Yeah. They all disappeared and stuff.
All except Brian and Countdown remain.
Well, they're mortals, you see.
Yeah, true. Which is a bit of a relief. And of course, Van Helsing reveals then... Well, just so you know, Amber was in a trance, and she didn't react to Countdown as if she was scared of the vampire stuff. So she's sort of in a trance, but now that the things are over, she could be a normal human being.
And Countdown goes out to meet her, and she still remembers him.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. True love, guys.
Yes, and meanwhile, Merlin is alone with Baron Frankenstein, and tells him that you betrayed Countdown's dad, you betrayed Countdown, and you nearly came close to achieving your end goal by...
You've been a very naughty boy.
Yes. And Merlin, takes up the opportunity to have him zapped into outer space.
Yeah, so some sort of be banished for 100 years for punishment. What happens in 100 years' time? Does he come back all forgiven?
I don't know, Mike. I mean, anyway, Merlin sort of takes over the throne because he's much more powerful than Lord
and everyone respects him. He's been around for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's well respected and well loved.
Yeah.
And like Dracula, he's been around for that long too.
He has, a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we end...
Since the days of King Arthur, at least.
Yes. So, Countdown and Amber, they walk off into the into the sunrise.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Considering that we've just met the sun.
Oh, and another point, it's obviously it's his first real official sunrise, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So that's the end of it.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know why Ringo was not too pleased with this movie. Maybe it's just in finding it fascinating.
Honestly, I mean, I would like to see a good, clear copy of this. I think he wanted to do a different soundtrack behind it and a few things to give it more definition, maybe give it a bit more atmosphere. I don't know what he wanted, but it didn't come off as a first-rate movie. I'm not bagging it. Please do not get me wrong. But Ringo's not an actor. Harry Nilsson is not an actor. Some of the other people might have had some matinee experience, but the two main leads weren't actors, and it showed.
Yes.
But it's a good, fun movie. It is. If you don't want to, if you want to spend a bit of time enjoying an old cheesy movie, which was, how would I say, it was Apple Film Production. It could be one of their first movies. They had some average movies back in those days.
Yeah, and depending on who directed it.
Yeah. So some of the experimental stuff, and so you got to get the guy's guts for doing it anyway. But my love of the movie is because of the musicians in it. Now, I'm going to touch on a few of these for you younger guys who might not know the names. A really, really quick briefing, because obviously it is good to know these things. Now, I mentioned obviously Harry Nilsson. He's an American singer, songwriter, piano player guy. Now, Peter Frampton, he was a singer, songwriter, producer, and a guitarist. He was associated with bands like Humble Pie and The Herd back in his early days, and he went solo. He's worked with Ringo Starr and David Bowie and other people. And next one's John Bonham. He, an English musician songwriter, best known as a drummer in the band Led Zeppelin. He was there. He did die sometime rather. I can't remember, and then someone had to take over for him. But he passed away. I think he passed away in 1980.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Keith Moon. Now, if I go tell people who Keith Moon is, there's something wrong here. Keith Moon has always been in The Who, will always be in The Who. I mean, I think The Who's actually finally broken up, but he was their wild drummer. Now, in the Muppets, there's a band in the Muppets. I can't know what the band's called. I think it's Animals on Drums.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Teeth is in charge of it or some other, but Animal reminds me so much of Keith Moon.
I imagine Jim Henson may have met,
Oh, look, The Who were popular in America. I understand. Now, Klaus Voormann. Some of you guys do not know Klaus. Klaus, German artist, musician, record producer. He designed artwork for the Beatles, Harry Nilsson's, and Bee Gees, Wet, 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 and some other crowd. Now, as a musician, he's worked as a bassist for Manfred Mann back in the early days. He's a session musician. He worked on You're So Vain by Carly Simon. He's on Lou Reed's Transformer album. He's worked with Ringo and some other guys. So he's been around the traps and knows lots of guys. Got lots of skills. I think he's more in production stuff nowadays. Now, last but not least here, Leon Russell. Now, you Americans don't know Leon Russell, something wrong with you. But the rest of the world, Leon Russell was one of the founding members of Wrecking Crew back in the olden days. His genres include pop, country, rock, folk, gospel, bluegrass, rhythm and blues, folk, rock, blues, surf, rock, blah, blah, blah. Tulsa Sound. He does a lot of good stuff. And he's a guy who took Joe Cocker on tour after Woodstock back in the olden days. So Cock Happy, that sort of tour. Back in those days, he put the whole thing together and arranged all the music for him. He's played with the Beach Boys on their album tracks for them. Dick Dale, Jan and Dean back in those days. On his first album in 1970, he had Eric Clapton with him, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison on this album with him. So he was hanging out with some really good people. So this guy is a really cool dude, music-wise. I think he's still going too.
This guy is good.
Yeah, he's great. I like him. Yeah, he's got that. I mean, that southern sound. I call it, but yeah, he's got twang in his voice and stuff. I like it. He's good. He's groovy. Love his hair and his top hat. I wish I had some hair.
So anyway, so what do we know so far about this movie itself? Well, let me see. The movie itself was shown over the years have been limited to midnight movies and similar outlets, meaning it's only appeared in like maybe movie nights, like if you went to the movie nights down in Brisbane, before the lockdown, they did a few of those movie night things where you get to see special movies and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they do. Anyway, our local state library sometimes does old movie sort of selections and stuff. Yeah, that sort of things. You know, some colleges, universities might put on those sort of things as well as a special tribute and stuff. Because I was chasing a movie for years called The Ghost of Sierra de Cobre, and that was doing the rounds of film festivals over the years and showing up at universities. Yeah. But it finally got released, and now since 1964, I've been looking for it, and it only came out the past year or two.
Yeah, I almost wish they didn't have to wait this long to release it onto DVD.
Yeah, I know. We get old and died before we see it, you know. But anyway, irrespective, this movie was relegated to the back streets of the entertainment industry because nobody wanted to promote it. It wasn't that good from a commercial perspective.
Yeah, so it explains a lot.
From an entertainment, if you get away with the goofy acting and a few things and a few cliches in it, it's fun and it's got good music and it comes together. It's nice. I'm not going to rate it high. I'm not going to rate it low. I'm going to give it a reasonable rating in a minute. But I think if you can get a copy of it, you won't get it at the video shop, I shouldn't think. We did buy a copy recently from Amazon. It's still available. I don't know if you get a torrent download, if that's your second option. I haven't looked. But if you can't get Amazon, you might be able to get a torrent download. But it's an old movie. It's grotty in quality. It's watchable.
And some really good music, as I said.
Oh, the music's great. I mean, if you like Harry Nilsson type music, or want to just get in and have a look at some of the stuff in it, what they're doing back in those days, it's a good fun movie. But it's like it's along the lines of a Hammer horror movie. Would that be close? Would you say?
I think so. I mean, they would have come out around that time.
The way Hammer used to make the horror movies were a little bit cliched, sort of, but good sets, average acting, good acting, whatever, basic storylines. And this was it, but a little bit more cornier. But that you get my drift.
True. So anyway, how do you rate this, Mike?
I rate because of its humble beginnings. And unfortunately, Ringo is trying to act in it. No. Sorry, Ringo.
That'd be insulting to Ringo.
No, I like Ringo. Ringo's a fine drummer and a good man, and he's whatever. But sometimes people shouldn't act, and he was just too stagey. But anyway, I'm going to give it 8.5 because I like the music in it.
I think I'll give it 8.5 too. when I think about it.
It's good. It's good fun. I mean, they haven't said this anywhere, but I really think if Harry Nilsson had taken off in his career, and Ringo and John Lennon had been impressed by him, I really think that maybe, even though they mentioned David Bowie's considered for the role, I really think that Nilsson was brought into it, and they put his songs into it purely as a vehicle to help Nilsson's career, because I don't think Nilsson did too much live performances and touring because he was a shy guy.
Yeah.
So I think they said, well, we like what he's doing. He's more of a studio type guy.
I asked you last night, Mike, when he was doing this movie, did it really increase his, music career?
I think he's popular, but the problem is, if you are a studio band,
yes,
no one knows you. If you get a song on the radio, you're lucky. But if you go out and do a tour, live concerts, whatever, then people get to see it. You're advertised all over the place, and people go to the concert and then talk about the concert, then people go and buy the records.
True.
That sort of stuff. And that's where the problem is. When you don't tour, you can drop off the planet pretty quick musically.
Yeah, see.
And actually, I think after John Lennon got shot, I think Harry Nilsson, because he's a friend of his, he sort of backed out the music scene a bit then and got into going. Trying to get gun laws not repealed. What's the word? Yeah. Look, you're trying to get guns banned and stuff. So that sort of stuff. So because he was upset, his friend died. So but he did a few more recordings later on, spasmodically, but nothing seriously. After that early '70s period, he had Nilsson Smilson, I think, Son of Smilson, a couple of other albums, and he just dropped off the planet, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so, is that it for us, Mike? I feel like there's not much.
Well, I can't think of anything else. I mean, there's not much to say about this movie, apart from I think it's a good watch. Don't expect commercial, a commercial top of the pile type.
Yeah, it's not
movie.
I wouldn't say this is a stream movie,
Not an A movie. Definitely not an A movie.
It's definitely watchable.
I like it because again, it's a good tongue-in-cheek storyline. It's fun. It's driven by the music. I like the music in it. And if you guys like music as well, and you want to see a cheesy movie which isn't too bad, watch it. I've seen it a few times over the years, and I like it. And there you go.
Yeah. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And the other one? Oh, me. Mike.
Wishing you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Anyway, see you guys around.
Bye, guys.